That Man and His Manga.
Hello and welcome to That Man. That is my merchandise, and today it's Manga Haul time. I've picked up a lot of really great titles this month, so I'm really excited to show you guys what I've hauled. But before we get into all of that, if you're new to the channel and love all things manga and collecting, from figures to anime and light novels, do me a favour and subscribe and ring that bell so you don't miss out on new weekly videos. The first title we're going to talk about is One Piece Volume 98. Now, as you guys are aware, I collect the Japanese volumes of One Piece. The reason being is that originally it was a lot cheaper to collect them, and then it's around the same price. Plus it takes up a lot less space, and I can support the series, have it on my shelf, while also reading it on the Jump app. Now, One Piece Volume 8 includes the very early stages of the Oni Kashima invasion fight arc, and yeah, it's a lot of fun. There's a lot of great setup for this particular arc. I'm not gonna lie, One Piece over the last few weeks has been interesting because at the turn of the new year, when chapter 1000 hit, I was kind of a little bit, I don't know, I wasn't that impressed by chapter 1000, and then I was kind of like, as the weeks went on, I was like, oh, I don't know if I'm really into One Piece anymore, but I'm not going to lie, the last few weeks have been absolutely fantastic. We're finally getting fights for some of the main characters, and we're finally getting some focus on the important characters. So that's always good. This volume, it is what it is. It's One Piece. If you're caught up, you're probably going to have an idea of what's going on. We get a lot of one of the new characters, Yamato. They're in it quite a lot, and yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a really fun series. Like I say, it's one of those ones. I'm more than happy to admit that One Piece sometimes isn't the best, but it still is knocking it out of the park, at least for me. The next series is another one, it's another One Piece one, and I started buying this one not only to fit into the One Piece collection, but because I genuinely don't know if this will ever get released in the West, and that is One Piece Party. This is Volume 7, and honestly, I'm really surprised this one doesn't get a release. It's quite shocking that a lot of series don't get the spin-offs and all that released in the West, whereas other series seem to get tons and tons of them. It's kind of weird in that aspect. This is one I would say that is worth Viz at least making the effort to at least put it out in English, because there's a lot of really fun content in here. This volume includes a little mini arc where the Straw Hats are all at school, they're all delinquents. Another one which has a what if scenario if Nico Robin as a child met the other Straw Hats as children. It breaks time travel, but I'm not gonna lie, One Piece has probably done worse. And the last one was an absolute hilarious title in which Usopp gets sent to Impel Down and has to break out of Impel Down with the fake Straw Hats and Doflamingo. It's essentially Impel Down in the New World. It ends with a fight of Bon Clay disguised as Frankie fighting Django in order to save fake Usopp. And I just thought that was brilliant. At first I was just like, what's the significance between this? And I was just like, oh, hang on, all of them have the exact same voice actor, so it's like literally the only way we're going to see all of these 4 characters on the screen at the same time. Like I said, it's a really fun one. It's not one that I'm expecting anybody else to pick up, but I enjoy it enough to warrant just picking up the official releases as and when they drop, just to have a nice flick through them. The next series is another one that I have spoke about a great length. The next series is another one that is easily in my top 5 favourite manga, and it's one that I haven't had a new volume for a long time. Once this got announced in Japan, I knew I had to at least own it, because it is actually one of my manga collecting goals to have all of this series in not only English but also in Japanese, and I made my first purchase and I have picked up Yotsuba and Volume 15, and honestly I'm really surprised. This is my first Yotsuba copy, and while I own a lot of One Piece in Japanese, this feels so much nicer. I don't know what it is, it just feels so much nicer. The quality is really nice on this particular volume. Now, as you can imagine, I don't really speak Japanese, or I don't read Japanese, so it's another one I'm going to pick up again once it's in English. I've heard this series is an absolutely fantastic one for beginners, of people who want to start learning Japanese, and that is another one of my goals, to actually learn Japanese so I can start picking up more and more Japanese volumes. It's a goal that I will someday obtain, maybe. And this was another beautiful volume. At the end of the day, you can kind of understand what's going on. There's a lot of great facial expressions on this series, so you do get an idea of what's going on. The last chapter was quite it was quite heartbreaking. It was one of those ones. I kind of feel like Yotsuba is potentially going to end. There's been a lot of speculation that Yotsuba will end once she goes to school, and that is starting to become more and more apparent, especially in the last few chapters of this volume. She finally gets her school bag, and we start to get a little bit of a flashback of how Yotsuba met her father, because we know that Yotsuba is an adopted child from what is apparently a war-torn country all the way to the left. So yeah, I really am excited to see how this series ends, if it ends. From what I understand, this is essentially a passion project by the creator. He doesn't... it's not his job, he just does it as and when he feels like it, and I think he makes enough money from the merchandise and sales and its popularity and everything else around related to Yotsuba to sustain his life, which I think is amazing. I would wish more manga creators would have that opportunity. But yeah, it's another one. The Yen Press have announced this is going to be released in English very shortly, so I am looking forward to that coming out. The next series is another one that I've been recommended a few times, and I thought I'd check it out, and that is The Daily Lives of High School Boys. This has been published by Vertical. Now, I was wanting another new gag series, and this one was one that often gets mentioned, and I thought, you know what, I'll check it out. I'll at least check out Volume 1, and I quite enjoyed this. Now, I'm not going to lie, I don't know what it is. It was something about this series. I read it and I was like, this is funny, there's a lot of great moments, but I felt that there was a lot of build-up towards these moments, which means that a lot of the actual volume, a lot of the chapters kind of felt that they were a little bit kind of, I don't know, it kind of felt that they were just piercing things through just to lead up to a gag. And sometimes the gags didn't pay off, I'm not going to lie. But either way, I think if you like Nichijou and City, you are going to enjoy this series. It was a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to checking out some more. Unfortunately, I picked this up with the intention of picking up Volume 1 physically and the rest of it digitally. But at the moment, it doesn't look like this is available digitally, unfortunately. So it's one that I'm going to have to decide, do I want to collect more of it and buy it physically? There's only 7 volumes, so I'm kind of tempted. Or whether or not just to wait and get it digitally, or potentially get it physically once I move into my new house. But yeah, it's one worth checking out. Like I said, if you like gag series, you're going to have a good time with it. It's not quite on Nichijou level, but it is still a really fun series. The next series is another one that I think pretty much everybody who's collecting manga at some point is now looking into investing in this series. It is one that has absolutely blew everything out of the park in the last year, and that is Spy Family, and this is Volume 4, The Bond Arc. I read this originally on the Shonen Jump app when it was coming out, and I just like to pick it up when it comes out physically. It's one of those series that I feel like if the Shonen Jump app for whatever reason went away, I would actually really miss reading this series. The same with Dr. Stone, and so that's why I actually picked this one up, whereas otherwise I tend not to pick up many of the Shonen Jump physical ones because it's on the app and I kind of don't really need to own them a few times. It's only going to be the exceptional series that I'm going to be buying physically. But Spy Family Volume 4, it's a lot of fun. The series is absolutely fantastic. In fact, I'd probably say it is the best thing in the Shonen Jump over the last year. And yeah, I don't know what it is. I just love everything about this series. It's just a great one if you like spies, if you like slice of life. There's a lot of great times and there's a lot of great moments in this series that it's worth checking it out. The next series is another one that I've spoke about a few times on the channel, and I did actually cover recently in a most recent video where I said the top 7 manga that is worth checking out in 2021, and that is My Dress Up Darling. This is volume 3. In fact, I think this turned up literally the same day as the last haul got finished. It just dropped through the letterbox as soon as I finished recording it. So yeah, it's one that I was originally on my list to cover last month, but unfortunately it wasn't. As is the case. I'm sure the same will happen today. Something will drop through the letterbox and I'll just be like, gotta do another haul next month now. But yeah, this is a lot of fun. I really enjoy this one. It's essentially cosplay the manga. A young shut-in boy befriends a beautiful girl and she makes him make cosplay. I'm really underselling it, but I have done a few videos on this, so go check them out. I'll leave a little link up there, or leave in the comments of where you can check out that full-on video on this one. It is one of those titles that I would really recommend checking out. The next title is another one that actually completes my collection of this particular series. Again, much like My Dress Up Darling, I believe this turned up a day or two after I recorded the last haul, so unfortunately it didn't go into the last haul itself. But I finally got Girls Last Tour Volume 3, which completes my Girls Last Tour collection. Now, there's a reason I haven't actually read this. I read Volume 1, absolutely adored it, but much like New Game, I really want to give this series a huge, massive, full-on dedicated video because it is one of those series that is worth that time. I did cover it again in the same video as My Dress Up Darling, so again, if you like that video, you're going to find out a bit of an idea of what's going on. Two cute girls doing cute things at the end of the world, trying to survive, exploring this apocalypse world. It's really heartwarming, it's really chilling, but it's one of those titles that I absolutely loved, and I think a lot of people absolutely love it as well. It was one where loads of people, as soon as they saw that I picked it up, they were just like, yes, I can't wait. And I was just like, yeah, as soon as I read Volume 1, I was just like, yeah, this is a fantastic series that really, really needs more attention. The next series is Volume 6 of Aria The Masterpiece. Again, I haven't managed to track down Volume 5. A lot of people say, oh yeah, it's on here, it's on here. Every time I order it, it either gets cancelled or something happens and they see it's out of print. So yeah, I'm still on the hunt for Volume 5. I picked up Volume 6 because I want to have the entire of this in my collection. It's one that is absolutely fantastic. It is so good and it's so relaxing. Again, I don't see it enough in other people's collections. I'm assuming it's because it's Tokyo Pop, and I'm assuming it's because it's a more relaxing series. It's not one of those series where it's over the top and graphic violence, which obviously this is going to turn off some people, but it's one where I've seen a lot of people really hype this series up. They say it's one of the best series if you like slice of life or if you want more relaxing series, and I'm inclined to agree with them. It's one where I'm really enjoying my time when I am reading it. I'm just wanting Volume 5 so I can binge it all. Someday I'll do a haul and be like, I finally got it, I finally got Volume 5. The next series is another one that I believe released late last year. I got Volume 1 quite some time ago and I absolutely loved it. I absolutely adore the anime and I adore its spin-off, Mr. Tonegawa's Middle Management Blues. But I finally got Volume 2 of Kaiji and I haven't read it yet, but I know I love this series. I've watched the anime so many times. Like I said, I love the spin-off, but this one, Volume 1 was so good. Again, it's another one. I have a really good idea of what I want to do for a video for this series and link it in with 2 other card game series. I'm sure you guys may have an idea of which series those might be. But it's another one. This really shows the addiction of gambling, or it's very dark, but it's very human. I really enjoy how it's all set out. I don't want to get too much into it because again it's another one where I really want to cover it on a deeper scale, but it's one I'm just going to recommend to you guys. Again, it's another one where I've seen a few people start collecting it, but I don't really see it that often. I think it's the same for a lot of Denpa's releases. Unfortunately, I don't really see many people actually buying them, which is a huge shame. Go check them out because they have some really fantastic titles that are just so underrated. And they've finally announced their March Comes In Like a Lion, so yes, a dream series finally going to be in my collection. But yeah, go check out Kaiji. You're not going to be disappointed with this one. The next series is a trilogy of light novels. I read volume 1 of this a few weeks ago, absolutely loved it, and I really needed more of it. They finally dropped a few weeks ago, and yeah, I picked up volume 2, 3 and 4 of Haruhi. So I read The Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya a few weeks ago. I finally got my do I call it my anime card? It's one of those series that I know has been a huge cultural phenomenon. It just kind of skipped me by, and along with titles such as Lucky Star and Kion. And over the years I have managed to watch Lucky Star and Kion, but Haruhi has been one that has been always out of my grasp. It never got a UK release on Blu-ray for some reason. I believe it's been announced though, or it's been it was leaked, so that'll come out sometime. And I really wanted to check it out. Fortunately, Yen Press started republishing all of their Haruhi light novels, so I was just like straight away, yeah, I've got to get these. And because I don't know, I just love this series. I really enjoyed volume 1, so I'm looking forward to reading the rest of them. I haven't had a chance to check them out yet. I know if I'm going to read them, I'm just going to binge all 3 of them. That has been a case in what I've been doing in some of my other light novel reads, rather than just reading one, just binging all 3 at once. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to checking these out and seeing what all of the hype is about, because volume 1 was so good. I can't wait for more of these, especially I think it was Disappearance. Disappearance is one that I feel that a lot of people really hype up. I believe it was a separate anime movie, so yeah, I'm looking forward to checking this one out. Really am. The next series is one that I enjoyed my time with this one, but I didn't really understand what people adore about this series. Now, I'm going to hazard a guess that this series gets away with the artwork side of things, which is less obvious in the novel version. So I read Solo Leveling Volume 1. This is essentially a straight up fantasy. Dungeons are in this city, and this weak guy ends up in this position, and he becomes a gamer or a player, I think they call it, and then he starts getting RPG stats, and he starts getting stupidly overpowered, and then he starts destroying everything else in the dungeons, and then there's a bit of gore in there. And I've read this so many times before in other titles. It's like, yeah, I like the idea it was in Korea, and I like the idea it was a reverse kind of isekai, kind of. But then I read Dungeon Busters, which was had the same plot but was on a more mature scale, and I was kind of like, yeah, I don't know. Maybe it must be the manhwa version. The manhwa version must be absolutely exceptional in its artwork, because this was kind of, it was fine enough, it was an enjoyable enough read, but I was kind of like, there wasn't anything that was really exceptional about it. I don't even know if I'm going to even pick up volume 2. I might actually just jump on and get the manhwa version, which actually covers like the first 2 or 3 chapters in this, so the manhwa version is going to take a long time to even catch up to the novel. I don't know, if you guys have read it, let me know in the comments. Is it worth sticking with this one? Does it get better after volume 1? Or is it just kind of more of the same? Because like I said, I've read so many overpowered protagonists in light novels and novels now that they're kind of just starting to blur into one. And unless it's going to do something actually exceptional, I don't know if it's even worth my time checking out volume 2. I don't know. You guys let me know. The next series is another one that I've discussed a few times on the channel. I really like this. It's an isekai that it's just a little bit different, because the character is reborn as someone weak. They don't become overpowered, but they have a good mind on them. They learn business, and they have an idea of getting books. That's right, I finally started to buy the physical copies of Ascendance of a Bookworm. So I've got Part 2 Apprentice Shrine Maiden Volume 2 and Part 1 Daughter of a Soldier Part 1, Volume 1. So I'm just trying to get these as and when I see them, and there's been stock issues for this particular title, so I'm just trying to get them as and when I can. These are absolutely beautiful editions as well, so I'm really looking forward to this, because I stopped reading, I think, around volume 8, which I believe is the next one to be released. So I'm looking forward to just rereading all of it. Originally I was going to reread from volume season, like the second arc onwards, but I'm kind of thinking I might just start again from the beginning and give it that second look, because it's one of those titles that I absolutely loved it, and I can't wait to read more of it. And I know you guys absolutely adore this season, series 2. Next up we have volume 5 of a series that again I have a lot of enjoyment for. It's a fun title, and it's been created by the creator of Konosuba, and that is Combatants Will Be Dispatched volume 5. Now this is apparently the end of the prologue, and all of the main characters have now been introduced into the series. Only took them 5 volumes, and I enjoy this series enough for what it is. It doesn't have the same impact as Konosuba, and I think the problem is that there's not enough focus on each of the main girls. Whereas Konosuba focuses on 3 girls and they just expand and expand and expand, they have other characters do join in. Whereas this one, we've got, even in the first volume, we've got a main character and at least, well, 4 main girls, 1 side female character, and as the series has gone on, it's introduced more and more female characters into it, and I kind of feel like we've not had enough development for any of the characters. That doesn't mean it's bad if you like Konosuba, if you like the stupid antics of Konosuba. This one takes a notch. It's got the whole evil villains being evil, so they've got a justification for being horrible to get evil points. I like it. I like it enough. Like I said, it kind of feels like it's Konosuba, but it's not quite as good as Konosuba. But it's still worth enough of a read. The anime is out next month, so go check it out if you are interested in that one. Speaking of Konosuba, Konosuba Volume 14 recently launched, and again, it's Konosuba. This is easily one of, if not my favourite light novels, and this is a Wiz-centric novel, and this is a Wiz-centric volume. So I like Wiz. She's one of those characters where she's been in for I think even from the first volume she was in, but she kind of never really had a huge. She had like a side character role, but this puts her in the focus, which I love. I love the fact that they are actually putting the effort in to make more of her, and Vanilla too. We'll get a lot of Vanilla action, so if you like Vanilla, you're going to have a lot of good times with volume. I would say volume 14 is volume 30. I don't know why I keep thinking this is volume 14. I don't know what. I really don't know why. Every time I look at it, I keep saying, "Oh yeah, it's volume 14," and I was like, "No, it's not. It's volume 13." But we can see from this we are starting to come towards the end of the series. I believe it ends on volume 17 or volume 18. So there's only a few more volumes of Konosuba still to release, which is going to be a huge shame. But then we get all the spin-offs and everything else. It's Konosuba. If you like Konosuba, you have an idea of what you're going to enjoy from this particular volume. The next series we're going to talk about is ReZero Volume 15. Now, I'm not going to get too much into this because I know a lot of you guys are watching the anime. You're not necessarily caught up on the light novel. This essentially finishes off what we're going to get into in Season 2. So, yeah, I'm just slightly ahead. I was just like, yes, as soon as this dropped with the door, I was like, yes, consume straight away. I read... This was like a 300... How many pages was this? This was 300 pages, and I just read this in like a day. I was like, straight away, I was like, I'm going to read it. I've got to read all of this in one day. And I was just like, I couldn't put it down. I literally could not put this volume down. It was so good. Such a satisfying end to an arc that has been starting from volume 10. So yeah, it's a lengthy arc, and anime only guys, if you haven't already seen it, you're going to have a lot of great content coming up here. That's all I'm going to say. I can't wait for volume 16 to come out. I think it's out soon, so yes. looking forward to it. It's ReZero. If you're enjoying it, you know what you're getting into with this one. Next up is another light novel that I've covered multiple times on the channel. It's not for everybody, but I picked up volume 8 of the Momisakai. Much like Konosuba, I believe this is ending on volume 11 or 12, so there's not much left. And you can tell by this, it is starting to come towards the end. They're wrapping up a lot of loose threads. And I like this one. I don't know what it is about this series. It's so bad, but it's so good. And again, it's one of those ones, it takes a unique premise and manages to run with it, which I was quite surprised with. And yeah, it's like one of those series where it's just like, it doesn't have any right being as good as it is. It's one of those ones I look at it and everyone says it's like, oh yeah, it's got so many bad things. And I was like, yeah, it's stupid, but they thought about the world. They thought about what they're doing with what they want to write in this. And yeah, it's a genuinely fun series. It's so weird, but it's quite fun about it. Yeah. The final pickup in this haul is another one. This is a title that I have a huge history with. It was one of the first, if not the first anime that I bought. It was the first light novel that I bought, and I'm happy to now be rebuying this light novel in a collector's edition. And I finally took the plunge and picked up Full Metal Panic Collection Edition 2. This has got Ending Day by Day Part 1, Ending Day by Day Part 2, and Dancing Very Merry Christmas. So with this, they finally catch up to Tokyo Pop's original releases and go beyond. And we actually get Dancing Very Merry Christmas, which was the arc that was cut out of the anime. So I am so excited to read this. I literally just read volume 1 after having it for a year. Yeah, you know, I say read your manga, but it takes me a long time to read my manga too. But yeah, I'm so excited to get into this. This one is quite surprising as well. Even though it's 3 volumes, there's only like 450 pages. I mean, considering I just read ReZero and that was like 300 pages, I'm looking forward to sitting down with this and just binging through the entire thing. Honestly, this one is one I love so much. It's so good. And again, I think once I do finish this, I'm going to try and do a full-on video for it. So look forward to that in the upcoming weeks once I get around to reading it and putting out a full video. So that was my manga haul for March 2021. I hope you had a good time. Let me know in the comments what you have picked up, and if there's any title that you have seen in this haul and you've got more further questions, just ask away. I'm always available to talk about manga and light novels because it is my passion. And if you haven't already, leave a like, consider subscribing. It really helps out the channel. Like I said, I did do a video previously which does cover some of these titles in more depth. Go check that out. It's on the screen and I'll leave a link in the comments. And yeah, if you haven't already, enjoy your day. Have a good one. Goodbye.